All right, 5 o'clock. I know you're all ready to go home, but I really appreciate you being here today. All right, we've seen all kinds of presentations. I'm hoping this one might blow things out of the water, but let's keep the expectations low. All right. So I really appreciate you all being here today. Today, obviously, we're going to be talking about how you or I or anyone else could go from paddling Flatwater to Waterfalls. Even specifically for me, this journey happened within only a couple years. So for the next half hour, I'm going to be talking to you about who the heck I am, why I'm here talking to you today, and I'm going to be talking to you about how you might be able to be the paddler you could be. I'm going to be helping you find your canoeing community. So I'm going to help you find people that you'll be able to connect with. And after that, I'm going to give you some places that you might be able to paddle if it's of any interest to you. And after that, we're going to have some time for questions. And more specifically, the moment you're all waiting for was some free gear. Raise your hands if you have some free gear. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. So of who the heck I am, why am I here today? My name's Evan Lefebvre. I'm from Ottawa, Ontario. We got a local here, I love it. So I'm 28 years old. My paddling skills, I define myself as an intermediate paddler. I'm nothing like, the legends out there who are sending class 4 rapids with their eyes closed. I'm constantly thinking that I have room for improvement, and I think that's something we all have to try and consider. Why I think I'm talking to you here today is my passion. I got all the passion in the world, all right? This is my thing. My whole energy here comes from trying to get each and every one of you out in the water, getting to see people who have paddled for the first time, just, lights a fire out of me. And so if I could get even just one of you out in the water today, that would make my life complete. Specifically, I kind of wanted to talk about how this shouldn't be something that you don't feel like you could do yourself. I give myself a 4 out of 10 on the cardio scale, right here. If you're catching me out portaging, I'm probably the first guy to take a breath, and like you'll see me today, I'm going to be sweating. And I just want to make it clear that you don't have to be an all-star. You don't have to be a superhero to be able to go and do these things. Anyone and everyone can go and have the passion and achieve these goals yourself. So, did someone say Waterfalls? I would not be here today if it weren't for the great legendary Paul Mason. Can I get a hands up if anyone here knows who the legendary Paul Mason is? All right, I found my people. This is great. So if you all stick around too, this beautiful human being has also blessed us with a whole bunch of free giveaways, such as his board games and some of his custom stickers he's made. So if you stick around till the end, we'll have some neat stuff to give away. So where do we start? Well, if you've ever taken a whitewater course, then you know things start on the flat water. You can never really go and take a course and hop right into things. You always want to make sure that you're taking it easy and you start with your own comfort level. And usually that's always going to be done on the flat water. For me, it all began with some fishing trips with my dad and sprinkled in with some support from my mom. All of our trips were pretty much based on trying to find the biggest fish we could do, just like my buddy Ben Beauchamp over there. My man, he's inspired me so much for fishing. But that was definitely what got me out on the flat water to start with. And shout out to Papa Pete for getting me started. Now, how does this relate to you? Why are you here today? You're asking, what the heck is this guy got to give to me? So who here is a flat water canoeist? Raise your hand. Right. So you are my people. And this relates to you, so you probably know what it's like to put on a PFD. You probably know what it's like to put a paddle in your hand, and you probably know what it feels like to be on the water. So you already have skills that you really need to get started in doing this yourself. Now, before I go any further here, I need to make it very clear that if you're looking to get into whitewater canoeing, then you need to know how to swim. Swimming is the most critical part of this entire endeavor. If you don't know how to swim, then you're really putting yourself and the others that you paddle with into danger. And as you can see here, during my boreal river rescue course. They get you to dive in headfirst into the rapids so that you know what it's like to be there, and when things go south, you know what to do. Now, safety is the main priority. If anyone is to go out and do this today, I just want to make sure that you take your safety as the utmost priority. We owe it to our loved ones, we owe it to all the emergency service workers, and we all owe it to all first responders as well, because ultimately these are the people that are going to have to come and help us out. Because things happen quickly. My girlfriend Phoebe over here can attest that moving water is very humbling, and things can happen very quickly. So it's really important that you make sure that you check out all of the dangers, and that you have all of your things kind of lined up, and you've really connected with your paddling partners so that everyone's on the same page, because again, the water will humble you very quickly. Now, if you're looking at getting started into any of this, my advice to you is to start off onto some streams. If you've never been onto big moving water before, then you're not going to know what it's like when your canoe goes broadside, or you end up flipping, and these things go very south very quickly. If you start off small and you start off on some small streams, you'll get to know what it's like to what we call read the water. When you're reading the water, you'll start to learn what it's like to find the V's in the channels, and you'll know what it's like when you start seeing obstacles in the water, and you'll be able to navigate your way down freely once you start going into bigger and bigger waterways. A way to really get started into all of this is to find out where you're gonna go in the first place. For me, it all started with getting lost into some maps. This is a screenshot of a video that we created when we did our trip down the Coulange River. That happened just last August, and we really used Hap Wilson's guidebook. This is just a snippet here of his book. It is a section of the Three Sisters, which are three rivers in Quebec, which can make up the Des Moines River, the Noir River, and the Coulange River, and they're known as the Three Sisters. I could not recommend them anymore. If any of you are looking for a great place to get paddling, I couldn't recommend it anymore. Now, an important part when it comes down to whitewater canoeing is, do you want to go tandem, or are you feeling more like you want to go solo? Each of these things kind of utilize their own techniques, they utilize different skills, and I think it's important that you really figure out which one calls to you more. Do you have someone that you can go out paddling with, or are you more someone who likes to be independent and paddling on your own? Paddling tandem, then communication is key. If you don't know how to communicate with your paddling partner, then Phoebe can attest, things go bad pretty quickly. And if you do communicate clearly, though, you'll be able to send things that you just never thought you could do. Me and Phoebe ended up going down the lower Madawaska last year, and we really tried to focus and make sure that our communications was the utmost importance. And we ended up blasting through rapids that we just never thought we would be able to do. And it was all rooted in our good communications together. A few of these things can involve knowing what your basic callouts are, like, hey, I need a draw, or I need a cross draw, and vice versa. If your front paddler sees something that needs to be done, then they can say, oh no, we got to rock, man, we got to move left. And so it's really important that you keep that, that momentum up together, and that you keep the communication open. Because, communicating clearly will help you avoid this. I know, this must look really bad. I just keep showing you all the pins and the mess ups and stuff that keep happening. But, if you don't communicate clearly, you can have accidents that happen, such as this one. This is Phoebe and I on the Porte de l'Enfer, which is Hell's Gates in English. This was on the Petite Nation River, which is just north of Ottawa by about 30-40 minutes. And pretty much during an very cold October afternoon, we ended up pinning our skiff canoe, and luckily we had a lot of friends around us to really help us out of that situation. And I think it was really why this happened was rooted in that we had a break in our communication, and it was something that really helped us push forward and decide, hey, this is something we're really going to focus on moving forward. Now, to be your best, you can never take too many courses. If you want to be the most advanced paddler out there, then that means you're going to be taking courses as much as you can. You're going to be, even if it's not a course, and you're just out with people who are more proficient at paddling than you are, and really taking that time to learn and focus on what it is that they're doing and how you can better your techniques or your skills, or maybe there's a trick that you just never even knew was out there, such as like boofing off a rock. I didn't know what boofing off a rock is. Does anyone here know what boofing off a rock is? That's what's up. These are even, love you guys. So, speaking of courses, does anyone know the Paddler Co-op? I sure hope so. They're right over there, and if you don't know who they are, right now they are fighting to try and acquire the land that they've been renting for almost 20 years. The Paddler Co-op has brought so much joy to my life. I've met some of the best friends I've ever had and could ever possibly imagine having. I've paddled things that I just never thought I could paddle, and it all started with this beautiful place that we call Paddler Co-op, and right now they really need your help. So if you have the opportunity right now to scan this QR code, they're really donations right now, and they could really use your help, and it would really help not only people like me, but even the younger generations that are possibly able to get into whitewater in the future. You're going to be the ones that help catalyze their future into paddling. So I highly encourage you all to try and donate to the Paddler Co-op. If you can't do it through here, I also want to check out their booth later on. I'd like to mention that I do have a special prize that I'm giving out to a really lucky individual today. So if you stick around to the end, we'll be able to announce who might be able to have their life changed today. Now, a really important thing when you're considering these things is to not forget to ask. You know, if you're going to just take pictures, don't, you know, if it's a picture, don't forget to ask, you know. But more specifically, you know, learning to ask or not to ask can get you into good places and out of bad ones. Whether it's asking your fellow paddling partners, how comfortable are you? Are you okay hitting this thing? Are you okay going down here? What's your comfort level? What's your energy levels like? If you don't know these things, again, it rolls right back to communication. If you don't know what the ability of your paddle partners are, or even, you know, asking yourself, how do you feel? Are you okay taking this? Are you okay doing this today? These are all really important things to ask, and it could be the difference between you getting home or not that day. Now, are you following the pattern here? Are you starting to see the sequence that's going on? This includes keeping an open mind and then constant learning. If you take those two things, you'll always succeed. This can relate to all things in your life, whether it's paddling on whitewater or, you know, maybe you're doing something hard in school that day. Who knows? Maybe you're, you know, having a hard time with your siblings or something. I don't know. But hey, if you keep an open mind and you always have some constant learning going on, you could pretty much guaranteed you're going to get through any of the hardships that you'll ever come across. Sprinkle in some courses and some new perspectives, and you know your life is going to be changed. Now, let's talk about acquiring gear, because obviously that's an important part to this. You need a canoe, you need the paddle, you need the life jacket, you might need a helmet, you might need some gloves, you might need some boots. There's all kinds of things here, but it can seem a little bit daunting at first and even expensive. But the way I see it is it's like investing in my mental and physical health, and to me, that's priceless. If I can make sure that I'm doing things that are going to keep me living long and healthy, and especially if I can do things that are going to connect me to other people. Shout out to Brooke over there, keeping the fire alive on the water. Like my buddy Derek though always says, T-Formex baby. There ain't nothing like it. I always hear stuff about Royal X or other types of proprietary materials, and there just really isn't anything like a canoe that you could wrap around a rock and then kick back into shape and keep doing your trip. Shout out to the Northern Scavengers on that one. Now, if you really want to get good, you really have to try out all the canoes that you can. You know, a lot of the time I think we mostly see people traveling in like 16-foot prospector canoes, and that's kind of the average type of paddler you're going to see out there. But if you really want to become proficient at what you're doing, then you need to try them all. You have to try and either find friends or go to places like the Paddler Co-op where you get to try out solo boats, and you get to try out tandem canoes, and hey, maybe you'll even try a 20-foot Miramichi canoe with 8 people in it, and you're gonna send it down the French River or something, who knows. But for me, I started out in a 16-foot Prospector, and after that, I moved up to paddling the Vertige X and the Pocket Canyon, which are a more sporty type of canoe. These things can be paddled tandem or solo, and at the time I always remember thinking, hey geez, these tiny little boats here are terrifying. This here is the Skiff Super Light Ledge, and this is a boat that really brought a lot of fear to me at the beginning. I was really intimidated. I had a friend who could paddle this thing left and right down the river, catch every eddy you could think of, and the moment I got into that boat, I flipped. Every single time I ever got in that canoe, I flipped and I was swimming every single time. And you know what? To this day, I still pretty much just guarantee myself I'm gonna flip when I first get in here. The first time I went out paddling with Paul Mason, I had all this stress. I'm like, oh geez, I got this guy who's like, whatever, well you guys know, he's like a legend. And the first thing that happened, I get into my canoe and they say, have you paddled here before? I say, nope. I get in, put my paddle in, I flip right into the water, right in front of my hero, and that was a really humbling moment for me, but it was a good learning lesson, and I think it really helped me build some resilience, and I think that's also another thing that canoeing can do for you. It will help you build your resilience, which will transcend into all different aspects of your life. As I mentioned earlier about community, I think community is the most important part. Riley outside, shout out to just so many of you in the room here today who have brought so much joy to my life. You've really helped me find what keeps me ticking. I've had a fire lit inside of me, and I don't want to push you and plug Paddler Co-op off too much, but that honestly was the place that changed my life. I just never saw myself being able to do this. I never even knew this was a possibility as a kid. I didn't know about whitewater canoeing or anything, but I truly wish that I had have known about that at a younger age. So if any of you have any young ones in your families, I highly encourage you to check this out, because honestly, it will transform your life. And just shout out to all the people who I've met. I don't even know where to start, and I don't want to cry today, okay? I'm not crying on stage. So, speaking of community, it's really important for you to join groups. At first, I had a really hard time trying to find people to paddle with. I pretty much just went out it alone. I would just go back to the streams and, close to my backyard, and I would just tinker around, just see what I could do, and it really clued into me that you really do need a community when you want to do these things. So whether it be a group or a club, like here, I joined the Pierre Addison Canoe Club, which is a canoe club that's closer to me near Ottawa. It's a French-based canoeing club. So many out there. There's like the Wilderness Canoe Association, there's the RACC, there's the Ottawa Runners. There are so many groups. I know we're in Toronto here, and Toronto has all of their own groups and paddles as well. So I highly encourage you to go and check out what kind of paddling groups you can join. And I also encourage you to become an active member, because there's some people who might have a canoe, but they don't have a car. Or there's some people who have a car, but they don't have a canoe. And this is where these worlds meet. And you'll end up maybe finding someone who might become your future best friend as well. You never know. But hey, a really important thing here is to be aware. If you're paddling in big groups, it's generally quite known to be quite unsafe. Usually people will think, hey, we have a big crew here, like someone's gonna help that guy, I don't need to help him, and that's when problems can happen. So I highly encourage you, when you do go out into these big groups, or if you ever do go out into big groups, that you really try to keep that small niche of friends that you look out for, and that they are looking out for you as well, because you always want to make sure that you're being safe. Like I said earlier, safety is the main priority. And the more that you start doing this stuff, the more you're going to become familiar, and the more that you become familiar, then familiarity breeds contempt. You'll accidents will happen. They won't possibly happen. It's just inevitable that these things will happen. So it's important that you be aware, especially if you start ignoring the dangers, such as paddling in big groups or going above your paddling limits. A really important thing is to start finding some inspiration. Find people who inspire you. It was so cool earlier. I'm sure a lot of you saw Alex Trainer was here. He was part of the Northern Scavengers, and that truly was what lit the fire in my belly to start whitewater canoeing. I watched their Boreal to Borderlands series on YouTube a couple of years ago, and holy geez, I just couldn't stop thinking about that. I have to get out here. I'm aging. My body's telling me I got to get out there. If I don't go now, what was Samuel Champlain or all these voyagers back in the past? They're my age, and they would have already gone across the Atlantic Ocean. So I had this feeling in me that, I have to start doing something more with my life, and it's kind of the catalyst of why I'm here today. Another person is Justin Barber. This guy is amazing. If you haven't seen him and Saku doing their huge journeys right now, I think he's traveling all the way from, Newfoundland all the way to a bay or something, like one way or another. It's like a huge journey, just like Adam Schultz was doing earlier. Now, we're almost done, folks. We're almost there. So far, we've gone over who the heck I am. We've gone over the tips to succeed. We've gone over some community aspects. We are now here. Next up, what you've all been waiting for, the waterfalls. And free gear, of course. Of course. Now, before I get to the waterfalls, I want to tell you my top 3 paddling recommendations. If any of you here are within this area, like the Ottawa Valley, and you're a beginner, let's just say, my advice to you is to start somewhere like the Paddler Co-op on the Palmer Rapids. Palmer Rapids is a very forgiving environment. There's generally a lot of people in there around the area, and there's also some facilities around like Paddler Co-op which can help you to succeed and to really get started out there. If you're an intermediate paddler, then I would encourage you to check out the Porte where you saw Phoebe and I almost flipping earlier. I know it doesn't look that good, but hey, you make it your own, right? You don't need to flip. This is like a class 1 to 3 rapid. It goes on for about 15 kilometers, and you don't even have to do the whole thing. You could just go and play at the beginning if you want. And if any of you do want to know or learn more about these spots, you could come and check me out later, and we can really talk about it. And I would love to get you guys out on the river. Now, let's talk about some advanced paddling out there. Has anyone here paddled the middle channel on the Ottawa River before? Raise your hand. Oh goodness. Do either of you want a poster by Paul Mason himself? Then come here right now. Riley, I will let you hand these out. I think I have 3 or 4 of them, so it looks like it's perfect. Thank you, Riley. If you want to hold it up, that's great. So, I only encourage you to paddle these things if you are an advanced paddler. I've even been told by my buddy Casey, man, you shouldn't be doing that unless you're in a kayak, man. And I somewhat agree, because I don't want you guys having to come and pick me up out of the water every time I end up spilling, and it's not really a fun place to spill, I don't imagine. So, with that said, yo, Evan, man, what the heck? We came here for the waterfalls, bro. What are you doing? I'm sorry. I've put you on. We put you on 20 minutes now, and I haven't even glistened over the waterfalls yet. But you know what? Here we are. Then this is what you want. This is what you get. So it's not the most epic thing in the world, and I think that's kind of the point. This is about a 9-foot waterfall. This is called Trick or Treat Falls, which is on the Couillon River. It's northwest of Ottawa by about, I'd say 40 minutes. And it's just such a neat place. I actually just acquired this Skiff Ledge Superlight, and it had never been paddled before. I had never really paddled anywhere. And I show up to this river with Paul Mason, and thank you very much, Riley. I'd never paddled this place before, and I show up and Paul's there, and he's with some other guy, and that other guy is Ed Chandler. Actually, shout out to him for taking the photos. First thing, that was the time when I flipped. We were right above this. It was only about 30 meters above this waterfall, and I go to get in it, and Paul says, "Have you ever paddled here before?" I was like, "No." And get in my canoe, flip right away. And you know, God bless Paul. He paddled right down that river and picked my paddle back up and threw it back at me. And I felt like maybe I shouldn't be there.
Please come to the show office. Liz Fung.
All right, that ain't me. Okay, we're good. I'm not getting Grammy'd. This is great. All right. Now, speaking of waterfalls and Paul Mason, here's him showing off, sending it backwards. This guy is like 65 years old, and he makes me feel like I'm just the smallest chump in the room, man. Like, look at this guy sending it off backwards down that waterfall. You know, this, to me, just highlights that you could be anybody and everyone. You know, if you have that ability and you're physically able to, that you could do this as well. I think it's so important to know that, you know.
Liz Fung, please come to the show.
Okay, all right. Well, I thought that was Grammy again. Jeez, Louise. So, yeah, it's very important to know that this could be in your future too. And to watch people such as this gentleman to be able to do things like that just brings me so much joy, because it makes me think I have so much life ahead of me. I have so many things that I can look forward to when I get into my aging life as well. So I think it's super cool to see what these guys are doing. And shout out to Paul. You know, I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to paddle with him. And you'll even catch him on the Palmer Rapids too. You know, he teaches courses, and I highly encourage you, if you are interested, if you're an intermediate or advanced paddler, please come visit me after, because I know he's also looking to teach some courses, and I have some business cards from him as well. Now, who here is into whitewater canoeing and has a canoe of their own? Okay, and now keep your hand up. Now, who here wants a sticker made by Paul for your boat? I saw a hand go super wild there. So I will come to you after and I will give you a sticker for that, okay? So again, thanks to Paul for setting all of this up for me. I really don't think I'd be talking to you here today if it wasn't for him, and for him giving me that fire to send it off that waterfall that day. And also, I should mention, this is like November. This is like mid-November, so it was pretty freezing cold. And you know, you really just want to make sure you have that passion to get out there. Don't go and do these things just because you think it might be the right thing. Do these things if you feel like, wow, this is just calling my name and I just have to try this. It's really also important to know where you're going paddling. Go with people who are more advanced. It was so nice to be with somebody who could say, you know what, if you end up swimming off that, you're okay. Here's what your plan is. Here's what you have to do. And I can't explain to you how comforting it is to have somebody who's more advanced and knowledgeable than you are to help you feel comforted in something as crazy as this. Now, time for questions. I really appreciate you all being here today. If you are interested in following some more of my journeys, we like to whitewater canoe pretty much any time of the day that we can get it, even into the winter. So please feel free to scan this QR code. It'll take you to my channel, and you'll be able to follow me along on some of my journeys moving forward. But I think I'm gonna skip it back, you know, to the Paddler Co-op, because this is something that really means a lot to me. And I'm gonna leave this up here so it gives you the opportunity to scan this and to donate. But again, I would encourage you to go and check out the Paddler Co-op's booth, because man, I just can't even tell you how much that's changed my life. But now that we're done here, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. I've got some free stuff to give you. Are you looking forward to this, or is this just me? Who here likes whitewater canoeing? Raise your hand. Okay, so now keep your hands raised. Who here likes playing board games? Oh, okay. We've eliminated a couple, but we've also gained a few. This is confusing. Okay. Well, oh, it's Ben Beauchamp. Ben, come here. Come give this to Addis, right over there, the guy in the green hat. Thank you, lad. Now, can anybody tell me, this is gonna be hard, I feel like I might get a couple shouted answers here. Can anybody tell me, what is the priority when you river? Safety. Do you want? Yeah. Do you want? Okay. All right. I'd be like I would toss it in the air like Dennis did, but I'm not sure that's gonna go too well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Phoebe and I have been playing these board games now just to make sure that we're not just giving you something that doesn't work. So definitely attest that it's such a fun game to play. It really puts you into the mindset of you know, being on the river, and it's a really fun game to play if you have some extra time. Now, so the pièce de résistance. What I'd like to do today is I'd like to give away a 2-day whitewater course at the Paddler Co-op. This is huge. This is huge, okay? This changed my life. I took a course at the Paddler Co-op with my girlfriend Phoebe and my dad. We took solo courses, solo canoe courses, and it really was the catalyst for everything we are doing today. If it weren't for that place, I would not be here speaking to you. So what I'd like you to do is to donate as whatever you're able to. Anything can help. And I would like you to send me a screenshot or some proof that you've donated, and then I would like to enter you into a draw so that I could give away one of these courses. It really means a lot that they've handed this out. I would sure love to just give it away to you guys, but I really want to make sure that Paddler Co-op is gaining something from this. So if you have the opportunity to scan that and to donate whatever you can and to send me a screenshot, you yourself might be able to have a 2-day course at the Paddler Co-op. And so to end this all, what I'd like to do is to just hand out some stickers and stuff like that, and to answer some questions. And oh, I saw a handout right here, little buddy. You want a sticker? Oh, we're giving you a sticker. So I'd like you all to just meet me in the back here, just behind the curtain, if you are interested in some stickers or some of Paul's contact information. You're welcome. Yeah, whatever I can do to get you guys out paddling, I'm here to do it. So thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Oh my goodness, I just forgot about the biggest giveaway. As powerful as a paddling course, you know what you're gonna, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. You know what you're gonna need to take that paddling course? You're gonna need this beautiful skiff paddle. Who wants to walk away with a whitewater paddle today? I'm only seeing a couple hands up. You know what? It's going out. It's going to Kathy.
All right.
Kathy, do you mind if I get a video with you later? That's great. And I think that concludes everything for today. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you all being here. Thank you. Thanks, man. Thank you very much, dude.
Fantastic job.
Thanks, man.
Falls,
Yes, yes.